tip of the iceberg, like the conscious mind, because it only does 5% of the things we're doing.
Right.
It's what we're thinking right now, where the unconscious mind is storing all of our memories. It's all of our mental programming. It's all of our values, our beliefs, our attitudes, our unconscious behaviors that we have to do all day.
Welcome to the Meaningful Jobs podcast. I'm your host, Adrian, and today we've welcomed Alex here, who is a specialist in NLP. He's got a lot of passion in this area, and I'm sure this episode will be really interesting. So, hi, Alex, how are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me. How are you doing?
Yeah, very good, thank you. I guess as I alluded to just now, I think your work in NLP, really fascinated me at first. And it'll be great for you maybe to talk a little bit about what NLP is, what you do and how you got into it, and perhaps how you maintain your passion. So yeah, could you tell us a little bit about how you got into NLP?
I got into NLP about 6 or so years ago now, I
Right.
think. And I was going through a tough time. I
Mm.
had some, personal issues, some financial stuff going on, and I kept having these certain thoughts that weren't good. And
Mm.
so I started kind of scouring online and asking around friends, family,
Right.
different things to do for personal development. And I found NLP to mostly, fix personal issues the way that
Right.
I was mentally programmed,
Mm-hmm.
and mostly for that. And then, it kind of grew from there,
Mm.
my passion in it and everything. So I've been continuing the thinking and learning more every day since with it. With That's specifically how I got into it.
Mm. If you don't mind me asking, because usually when I come across people who've got, big financial issues or personal issues, I guess, the first thing they think about might not be NLP. So, is it like kind of random how you got into this or, how?
Um, Well, I started reading some books first. So I started to, way back then, one of the first books I started reading was The Secret. So many people have heard of this book, Law of Attraction and all this. So I started thinking like this. So I would say, reading, and then I read The Power of Your Subconscious Mind by Joseph Murphy.
Mm-hmm.
So I read a couple of books, and I started believing how your thoughts are related to your reality, and your thoughts lead to your results and your behaviors and all these, the pictures we hold in our mind. That's chances are that's what we're going to get, whether we're thinking good or bad. So I started off with these
Mm-hmm.
concepts, and I started reading, and then in some of the books, they give other book recommendations and stuff, and NLP was in there. And also, I knew some people personally who had done specialized trainings
Okay.
such as this, and so they recommended it as well.
Mm-hmm.
They had recommended it to me many times before.
Yeah.
However, I wasn't in like the right place at the right time to be like, hey, it didn't click in my mind yet that I absolutely had to do it. And then all of a sudden, the time was right. I found someone to learn from, and the rest is kind of history.
Right, I see, I see. Well, so I guess the books must have inspired you a lot. So when you started getting into NLP, what are the difficulties that you encountered?
Well, I was going through some financial trouble, so
Mm.
around that was a lot of negative emotions.
Mhm.
Honestly, the good thing about it is I finally sat there and felt like a full range of emotions.
Mhm.
So fear of the unknown, like what's going to happen next.
Mm.
That leads to, of course, some anxiety.
Mhm.
Plus I was a bit angry at myself for making poor decisions
Mhm.
and things like this. And you're a bit sad of how things are going to move on and things like this, and of course you have some regret. So I finally, sat there and just felt all these emotions. And
Mm-hmm.
so it allowed me to kind of go within and find something that was, helpful for it. And so I was able to, with NLP and all these things, release these emotions. So then I could fill up my life with, things that are good and beneficial for me.
Right, right, I see. So, um, could you tell us a little bit about perhaps what you do now? So I guess you are a, certified NLP trainer. You've got your own training firm. Can you tell us a little bit about this?
Yeah, so currently I'm living in Athens, Greece.
Hmm.
I'm originally from California.
Hmm.
So I took some trainings, different places in the world, some online, some in person.
Hmm.
And, I went through the steps to become a certified trainer of NLP.
Hmm.
And then recently, as of last year, I'm a master trainer as well, which essentially means I can train trainers.
Hmm.
So we give out different certifications in NLP, hypnosis, and timeline therapy. So, they're approved by different boards, certified boards, certified trainings. So we offer that as well as, professional development sessions if someone's looking to, pursue certain things in their career. Let's say we help a lot of people in this specific niche, as
Hmm.
well as different, business owners who want to grow personally and professionally. So we offer different private sessions as well.
Right, I see, I see. It's not normally somebody associate, NLP with Athens. So, I find that, very interesting that you chose, to move over here. Is it because, NLP is really big in Athens, or, is there any other reason?
No, I happened to when I first started doing NLP, I started talking to this person online. We started talking about NLP.
Hmm.
She's my wife now, so this is
That's a great ending.
she's Greek, so this is
Right,
why I'm
right.
here. However, the good thing about let's say NLP here in Greece as opposed to the US is it's not as, let's say, a saturated market, which doesn't necessarily mean one thing or another because,
Mhm.
competition is however you look at it, anyways.
Yeah.
However, it's growing.
Hmm.
More and more people are kind of open to this
Yeah.
thinking and this mindset of coaching and things like this. So I think it's a good place to be. However, I do work with people all over Europe as well as
Right.
US and India, other places. So
Mhm.
um, everything's done online a lot
Mhm.
of times. So you can reach different people. So
I see.
that's a
So,
good thing.
um, in terms of NLP, how would you say it personally helps you navigate your, um, you know, difficult life passage you had before, going into NLP?
The first thing is there's a lot of things that we're already doing. But we're doing these things unconsciously. So
Mm.
let's say like building a connection or rapport
Mhm.
with someone else. So what
Mhm.
NLP does is it makes you consciously aware of the exact steps that we need to then do this in an excellent way. So now I'm able to, create connections with people very quickly based on things that I do to build rapport. So
Mhm.
whether that's with my voice, my listening skills, my communication, my physiology,
Mhm.
whatever it is. So that's one way I use it. However, I just use it continuously, thinking how we teach people to think. And
Right.
two of those ways are to, so always be curious.
Mhm.
So when we're communicating with someone, we always want to be curious because chances are they know something that we don't know.
Yeah.
And we always want to have a willingness to experiment, to try different things with different people, of course, with both of us benefiting in
Yeah.
mind. So I'm always using it in this way too, as well as in personal relationships to deliver communication how the other person actually wants to hear it. Because most people they communicate things how they want it, And
Hmm.
then the other person might be looking at him like, hey, it doesn't resonate with them. So we need to be able to focus in and really communicate how other people want to be spoken to, and communicate that way. So these are just a few ways.
Right. So I think you talked a little bit about unconsciousness. I'm fascinated by how unconsciousness can actually help humans perform at a higher level, because by definition you wouldn't know what your unconsciousness is. So can you maybe explain a little bit about how what unconsciousness is in NLP?
Yeah, so we have two minds that are working for us, the conscious mind
Hmm.
and the unconscious mind. So a little metaphor is usually like that. A lot of people have seen that iceberg photo online where the tip of the iceberg's
Yeah.
above the water, and it's usually around success. However,
Hmm.
you can think of the tip of the iceberg like the conscious mind, because it only does 5% of the things we're doing.
Right.
It's what we're thinking right now, where the unconscious mind is storing all of our memories. It's all of our mental programming. It's all of our values, our beliefs, our attitudes, our unconscious behaviors that we have to do all day.
Yeah.
So it's 95% of what we're doing every day, because I mean, who would want to have to wake up and be like, hey, this is how I'm going to have to breathe. This is how I'm going to have to move my arm. This is how I'm going to have to
Yeah.
brush my teeth. So it makes our life easy, as long as we're giving it good information to go with. So really, with NLP, we find out how people do things inside their head, so their
Yeah.
unconscious processes, and we find out how we can change those to get better results.
Right.
Because it's not anyone's fault if they have certain programming, let's say, because most of that we get when we're aged 0 to 7. We run around like a little sponge, and our unconscious mind soaks everything up.
Hmm.
And over time, we get taught limitations. So we need to eventually learn how we can be limitless again.
Hmm.
So we can make all those changes at the unconscious level, so then
Hmm.
we can achieve new things. So that's how we
Hmm.
essentially work and separate the two, because the unconscious mind, it's about a million times more powerful
Hmm.
than the conscious mind. So why not use it, to our advantage?
Hmm. This might be a bit of a difficult question, but let's say if a client comes to you, his request is for you to train him in terms of to tap into his unconsciousness and help him perform better. How would you approach this?
It all depends on the person,
Hmm.
because everyone's going to, uh, kind of how I was saying earlier, everyone's going to communicate differently, and
Hmm.
everyone has different, if an event happens on the outside, we're
Hmm.
all going to filter it different because of our beliefs, our
Hmm.
values, our attitudes, and all this. So
Yeah.
first we need to understand just a bit about their personal history,
Hmm.
and then understand how they actually do behaviors and stuff inside their mind.
Hmm.
Because what we do inside of our mind
Hmm.
then leads to our how we feel internally,
Hmm.
which leads to how we carry ourselves with our physiology, which leads to our behavior. So we
Hmm.
need to just get detailed enough on the inside of them,
Hmm.
how they actually do things, so then we can create change. But usually we start off, people generally need to let go of different emotions. I was kind of saying earlier, things like anger, fear, sadness, maybe they have regret, guilt, things like this. So we need to release these emotions first, because they're stored up in the body, and it's over time it gets, causes stress or anxiety. It's harmful for the body.
Hmm.
So we need to release these, so then we can fill them up with more, let's say, new strategies, and new behaviors that actually lead to, like you said, the way they want to perform and things they want to achieve.
Right. Did it take you long maybe to let go of the negative emotions you had? Was it difficult at all?
Um, it's not uh, it's not difficult, as long as you trust the process.
Hmm.
You're doing it with your unconscious mind. So as
Hmm.
long as you build a good rapport with your own
Hmm.
unconscious mind, it's an easy process as long as you I mean, really anyone that wants to, take their results seriously and wants to invest time, money, and energy bettering themselves,
Yeah.
they can do it. They can do it with ease. You can do it in really quickly. I don't want to say like hey, you can do it in 30 minutes or an hour or 4 hours or something because it depends on the person. However, it can be done quickly.
Hmm. So what are the long-term benefits of, mastering your unconscious mind?
I would say one of them is controlling how we feel internally. So we can go into any situation, let's say, based around career, someone has to go deliver a presentation. If they're
Mhm.
feeling nervous, if they unconsciously have a different skill, they can then turn that into, let's say, being totally focused or in control or confidence.
Yeah.
So this is one benefit. The other benefit is just understanding how our mind works and
Yeah.
knowing what questions to ask other people to understand how theirs works as well. So then we can influence each other in a beneficial way because it's all about win-win.
Right, right. I see. So, you know, h- I think you've been an NLP trainer for over a decade already, if I'm not incorrect in this. Um,
Not a decade. I mean,
not a decade.
no. I've been doing relatively about 6 years all this
Oh, six
stuff.
years.
So
Right.
yeah.
Having to do this on a daily basis, what are some of the main challenges that you come across? Or how do you maintain, your passion or your professionalism?
Yeah, the challenge, I would say one of the challenges is when you're teaching and training people, especially in NLP, we're teaching people to be excellent as much as they possibly can.
Mm.
So for me, I'm still a human.
Mm.
So if let's say I have personal things
Mm.
going on in my life, or things are happening around the world, whatever it is,
Mm.
when I'm training, I have to be excellent, regardless. So I have to control how I feel internally. I have to
Yeah.
be calm. I have to be in control, and essentially, you have to continually just take responsibility for everything that happens around you. You have to be at cause, which essentially means you get results. If you're at effect, you're going to be giving reasons and excuses and blaming other people.
Mm.
So one challenge is to always anything that happens, whether or not it's, let's say, your fault or whatever it is, like
Yeah.
take responsibility for it
Mm.
and learn from it because there's no failure. There's only feedback. So you continually have to give yourself feedback. So I would say one challenge is just always being always being at your best.
Mm.
So you get used to it because you start building a habit of it.
Mhm.
Um, but you have to be ready for anything, I think. So that's another thing. You never know what's going to happen as well
Mhm.
because during a training, people can have different, let's say, breakthroughs,
Mhm.
realize different things. They get pushed to their limit
Mhm.
and they're ready to break through, and maybe there's some resistance. So you also have to be ready for everything and think on your feet
Mm.
quite well.
So, one thing I always ask my guests on my podcast is, um, obviously we all work for um monetary compensation, in some respect. Um, would you say it's difficult for you to maybe separate, the monetary side of things and, actually, helping clients?
I would say it's not very difficult. Of
Mhm.
course, you want to, charge what you're worth, which
Yeah.
essentially means that the client's going to
Hmm.
get value out of what you're giving.
Hmm.
So, I mean, I enjoy what I do because you
Yeah.
get to see someone come in
Hmm.
in their present state where they may be stuck or whatever the issue is, and then you
Hmm.
get to have them tell you at a certain point like how good they feel.
Hmm.
So, I mean, regardless of what you're charging someone, to see that is super cool. It never gets old. So
Hmm.
it's not I wouldn't say it's difficult to separate at all because
Hmm.
I mean a lot of people say like find something you're passionate about and
Yeah,
learn to make money off of it, and you'll be happy. So regardless of what people do, I think that should be the goal.
right. So you talked about, clients having a range of emotions and, feeling satisfied, seeing them perhaps improve on their emotions after, receiving NLP therapy. Um, have you had cases where, it took clients a really long time, longer than you expected to see any improvement? And, how did you deal with these cases?
I mean, every person's different. How they how they process things can be different. So
Hmm.
maybe someone is more analytical, let's
Hmm.
say, and they're thinking more logically.
Hmm.
So if someone, let's say, is doing this, they may be trying to do the techniques with their conscious mind as
Yeah.
opposed to unconscious mind. So it's going to be harder to create the change.
Hmm.
So it's not that it takes, let's say, so much longer. You
Yeah.
just need to teach certain people different ways to do this because it may not be a strategy that they normally use. However, depending on the person, of course, things can work very quickly,
Yeah.
and maybe they only want to do a few sessions, where
Mm.
others want, I mean, others they want more long-term coaching and support and things like this. So either way, I'm happy to offer it.
So lastly, before we end, could you maybe, tell us a little bit about, how your entire program works, what the structure is, and, just to give a brief intro to it.
Yeah, so as far as I would say the main program that we offer
Mm-hmm.
is trainings. So um, we do this currently, we're doing it all online. So you can join from anywhere in the world,
Mm-hmm.
which is a benefit for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, before you start, I have some pre-study that I prepared, which is a lot of theory on what people will learn, so
Mm-hmm.
they can hear it a time or two before they arrive, and then once they arrive, we start kind of more slow because if we start with a big bang, let's say, maybe someone's not ready for it. So everything in the training is designed to lead to the next thing. So we have um, different modules, communication, then we move into more the heavier techniques.
Mm-hmm.
And after about, let's say, 2, 3 months, you're certified. So, and you
Right.
can earn, whatever certification we offer. We offer a few different ones. So depending on what training you want to um, take along with NLP, if you want to do timeline therapy or hypnosis as well, you can earn, 3 different certifications
Mm-hmm.
for that. But it takes about the whole process. We space it out a bit, so it's about 2 to 3 months to
Mm-hmm.
get the certification.
I see. All right. Thanks a lot, Alex, for coming to the podcast today, and wish your business all the success. And I'll see you soon.
All right, thanks for having me.